visit visa.
Yes.
Maximum in Canada is how many months?
Expiration of your passport.
No.
Seriously, expiration of your passport.
Mean that.
Honestly, and actually Canada, almost by default, if you have your documents in order and they give you a visa, it's to the expiration of your passport. So the average person gets 10 years. If
But
they have
I mean. Hi everyone. This is where we are in Uganda. Like, it's so interesting. It's warm. It's nice. I really can't. I wish you could there, or you could have this feel like the fresh breeze. It's really nice. This time we are talking about Canada, like migrating to Canada. I know most of you want to go out there, but you don't get to get the full information, or you don't get to get the right information. And today I have someone who is going to let us in on how to migrate to Canada. Today I'm with Luther James. He's a lawyer. He's not just a lawyer, by the way. He's also a doctor, PhD. So basically, he knows these things. Like, this is his thing. This is his world, and he'll be telling us. He lives in Canada, and he'll be telling us what you need to know, what you need to have, how to get there. But he'll give us the most important information that will help you get there, for those who are interested in migrating to Canada. So, Luther, thanks for allowing to do this with us. Thanks for being here. I really appreciate it.
Yes, thank you very much.
All right. Tell us who you are. Who is Luther? Like,
yes,
professionally, I mean.
Yes.
Yeah. What you do.
So thank you very much, Cynthia. Like you said, I'm a lawyer. I'm licensed in Canada, so I do immigration law. Specifically, I did it in Britain for over 8 years before I migrated to Canada, and I've also done just immigration in Canada. So I'm just a lover of the law. I love immigration. I believe that there is a benefit for people moving to other countries.
Yeah.
So yes, I'm here to share my brief experience with the audience, and I'm looking forward to doing that.
Okay. Who can go to Canada? What are different ways if one wants to go? Because we have people who are skilled, we have people who are not skilled, we have people who just want to go there, or have people who have families there but they don't know where to start. So let's start with skilled people. What are the chances if someone is skilled and says, I want to go to Canada as skilled migrant?
Yes.
So where do they start?
Okay, so thank you for that question. It's a very important question because there are very few countries in the world where you can actually move and you're a skilled person. And that's Australia, New Zealand, and Canada.
Okay.
Now, the good thing about Canada is it takes about 85% of the skilled migrants. So pretty much Canada absorbs 85% of the world's skilled migrants who want to land as skilled migrants. So it's a program called Express Entry, but also that is at the federal level. Mm-hmm. Now then there is the provincial level where they have the provincial nominee programs. Mm-hmm. And then for people who live in Europe, there's another program where they can come as long as they're between 22 years and 30, mm-hmm. and they can work in the country for 1 year and apply for also permanent residence, mm-hmm. which is very good. But then there is also permanent residence for people to come as investors. Okay. So there are several programs. There could be over possibly 25 permanent residence programs where people can come, and they just land in Canada and they're permanent residents. Something you don't get in many of the other countries in the world.
So for us, this thing, I do it for Ugandans or for people in Africa. So let's talk about skilled people who live in Uganda or who live in Africa. How do they get there, and what program is that for the skilled people who live in Africa, in Uganda?
Yeah. So for Uganda and Africa as a whole, pretty much it's called Express Entry or the Provincial Nominee Program.
Express Entry.
Yeah, Express Entry. Now, this program you have to know who it targets, because if you don't, then you might be 50 and you want to apply for it.
There's also age limit.
Yes. So this program is what they call a qualifying visa.
Okay.
And what qualifying visas are is they're the best visas to apply for, because they are point based, mm-hmm. and if you meet the points, mm-hmm. you're in.
All right.
So you're not looking for your travel history, you're not looking for purpose of travel, you're not looking for your ties to your country. So it's a very unique program which targets around 22-year-olds to around 35. So if you're in that age bracket, this is a very, very good program for you, because it is point-based, one, and it looks at specific things. Again, your age, which I've given them. It looks at your education. It would help that you have at least a postgraduate diploma or above. and I'll
Minimum
explain.
postgraduate.
Possibly, even bachelors would be okay,
Yeah.
but it's a very competitive option.
Yeah. Okay.
So let's look at postgraduate diploma to be safe, all right?
Okay.
And then you have good English or
Okay.
French
Okay.
or both.
Okay.
If you have those three things,
Yeah.
you pretty much have permanent residence to come to Canada.
So yeah, before
So which
you
is
go on,
very
maybe
good.
you talk about points. What
Yeah.
is that, and what are those points, and what?
Okay.
Yeah, when you say points,
All right.
you
Yes.
don't understand.
Yes.
Okay.
So Canada looks at what they call it's a system called comprehensive ranking system,
Okay.
and the motive behind it is that they are giving this visa, which only two other countries give, and they are saying, what are we getting back in return?
Okay.
So it helps them sieve the kind of people they want,
Okay.
and for them to be able to get people who are young and who are fairly skilled and educated as well,
Yeah.
with either English or French, which are the Canadian languages, then they need to allocate points to those things.
Ah, okay.
That if you've been working for 1 year, they give you too many points. If you have 3 years,
okay,
4 points.
If you have
So,
a master's,
yeah,
if you have a
more.
postgraduate, okay, now I
PhD,
get it.
you get
Okay,
more
get it
points.
now.
So it's point based, but honestly, I've dealt with so many of those applications, and the typical person who goes at least has a postgraduate diploma. They've worked for 3 years, and they also can speak reasonable English, right? And they're between 22 to 35. Now, the spectrum of Ugandans who fit that is almost all the youth who finished university,
I think
and
so, yeah. Most
they can
people.
all go under that program.
And let's say someone is watching
Yeah.
and they have all that.
Yeah.
They're between that in that age bracket. They have they have the postgraduate minimum, let's say,
Yes.
and then they have basically everything.
Mhm.
Where do they start? Where do they go?
Okay,
Where do they
so-
get the information to
so-
apply for this?
Firstly, you either retain a lawyer or a consultant.
Okay.
You
You need a lawyer.
do because
A Ugandan lawyer.
no, a Canadian lawyer who you can get
Oh.
online. You can contact me. You can contact consultants. There are several consultants
Okay,
in Canada.
so what we will do,
Yeah.
we will, we always do that. When we give information, always, when Hakuna Matata, we give facts. So what we'll do, we'll share all the links where you guys can find this, what he's talking about. We'll share the links where you can find the lawyer, we'll share his link, we'll share all this information in our video description. So,
Yes.
Yeah.
So contact the right people, right? That's the first thing. The second thing is you have to have your academic credentials assessed,
Okay.
which is either it's a bachelor's degree or it's a master's, because there are certain universities that their credentials are not recognized.
Okay.
For instance, in Uganda, I think Makerere is very recognized as an institution which is at the level of Canada, because you see, the one the education you did is similar to Canada,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, I get it.
And then you also have to, other than the academics, you have to do an English test.
The English
Or
proficiency.
French,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
So that is where you begin from.
Okay.
And then once you score reasonable points in the English, and then your degree is recognized to the Canadian standard, then the rest is just providing information.
So let's do this.
Yeah.
Because I want us to give people step by step.
Yeah.
You talked about Makerere,
Yeah.
but there are so many youth or people who didn't study, graduate from Makerere,
Yeah.
from other universities. How do they get their documents?
Yes. So they are verified by an organization, Canadian organization called World Education Service.
We'll share the link as well.
Yes, you'll possibly share the link.
Yeah.
And once it's come back, then that's the beginning. Then we know
Okay.
that your degree is equivalent to this in Canada. And then you do the English. It's funny that people think because we speak English well, people fail English actually, the English test. a lot.
Really?
The typical Ugandan I know scores between 7 and 8.
Out
Yet-
of 10?
Yeah, out of CLB 10, so the proficiency. And you need really at least 9 to 10 to score maximum points.
So 7
So-
you failed?
You don't fail, but your points are low because it's a point-based system.
So that takes us back to points.
Exactly, points, right?
Ah, okay,
So what
now
then
I
we
get
do is we
it.
kind of prepare the people to
Okay.
do mock exams
Okay.
so that they score highly.
Yeah.
Because it's competitive.
Of course.
So that's how we prepare them. That we prepare them for the English or French.
Yeah.
If you have English and French, that's great because you get more points,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And then we make sure that we have the academics credentials assessed,
Assessed, yeah.
and that's the beginning.
Okay.
Then once at least you've scored reasonable points in the English and your academics is at the same level,
Yeah.
you're pretty much almost there, because the rest is just providing documents.
And what is that, the rest?
The rest is things like, okay, now I've had 3 years work experience in Uganda, so we want to know that, who did you work for?
Okay.
Is it a skilled job? It has to be a skilled job.
Oh yes, of course. Yes.
And then, as people think skilled job is working in a lawyer, doctor, but that's,
I thought so.
no.
Okay, tell us, what is a skilled job?
An administrative
Like, what is
assistant is a skilled job.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to be a care worker, it's a skilled job, right? If you have managerial responsibilities in any industry, you'd be managing possibly a group of workers, you could be managing a hotel, you could be, it's skilled, it's skilled.
Yeah.
So the typical people who have finished, university are command skilled jobs, right?
Yeah.
And we find that once we get that, it's easy for them to qualify. Unfortunately, Africans are not picking up on this opportunity. Lots of Indians are doing it.
They don't get the information.
Yeah, Chinese and the rest. So it's a good thing for them to start picking up this, because it's the best visa to go. Many people go and stay in countries for over 5 years before they become. Yes, but you land and you permanent resident. So it's a very good option.
So I'll go back to the procedure.
Yeah.
So you have all your documents, you have your academic documents assessed and stuff, and then you're saying then you have experience as a skilled person. What is the next step then?
So the next step is then you provide all these documents to us, and then to the lawyer or the consultant.
And must you know? You said you can find a lawyer online.
You can find the lawyer online.
But we have you here. So.
Yes, they can send them all to me, right? And then so we create an online profile. So this is an online application.
Yes.
Canada, most of its visas are online. So then we create your profile online, and then you get into a pool of candidates.
Okay.
So by the time we do the online profile, we'll tell you how many points you have.
Okay. You already know.
Yeah,
we
know.
Okay.
We know. So if you have 400 points and above, then the presumption is that you will be invited. You'll be considered for permanent residence.
Okay. 400 points.
400
and
points and above.
Okay.
Now, there are many people still get 400 points and above.
I know.
So you're going to go into a pot of
Yeah.
over 15,000, and you compete for possibly 1,500 slots.
Yeah.
So at 400, you're going to have a 10% chance of being invited.
Yeah.
But the typical person, like I said, honestly, who is young in that category, the likelihood is they'll be invited to apply consequently. Canada used to take at least over 280,000 permanent residents a year, and they've taken a break between the COVID period. So for almost 3 years, they haven't invited anyone. So they have a gap now of 600,000 people to invite. And why not
skilled people?
Skilled people.
Okay.
So why not Africans? Why not Ugandans?
And there's so many guys here who have graduated,
Yes.
they have experience,
Yes.
and
Yes.
if there's a chance, why not tap into it?
So it's a very good option for them to consider.
Okay, but there's a question, I'll ask it at the end.
Okay.
At the end.
Sounds good.
Okay, I hope I'll remember it. So now we are talking about skilled people, we are talking about this now. Okay, let's put that aside. What about for a common person, for someone who is not skilled? Is there a chance for someone, a normal Ugandan or African, who speaks fairly good English, can get into Canada, and what ways or under what kind of visa?
Okay, so there are temporary resident visas as well. Now the good thing with Canada is that unlike most other countries, it's the second biggest country in the world. That's the first thing. And the second thing is it's around 41 times the size of Uganda, but then they have the same population.
Oh yeah,
They have the same population.
Right,
Then, unlike Uganda, it has youth, which will have over 60%. Canada has elderly people who are and they have very few youth. So there is a need for so many people. Also, Canada is a G7 country, which means one of the 7 biggest economies in the world. So very vibrant economy, few people, few youth. So they want a lot of semi-skilled workers. They want a lot of people who are going to come and do different trades. That's where there is the federal skilled worker program. But they come in as temporary residents and then make their way to permanent residence.
And what is that? What is the procedure of temporary residence?
Okay, so temporary resident visas, there's so many of them. You could either come as a visitor initially, and then actually there's a program now where you can come as a visitor and apply for permanent residence in Canada. as a visitor.
Okay,
Yes,
so as a visitor, to start with, let me pause you right there.
Yes.
As a visitor, someone has to invite you.
Someone has to invite you.
And then you
right?
go as a visitor.
Exactly.
Or when you get
And
there,
when you
start a procedure.
Exactly.
Okay.
You look for work. If
That's
someone wants to,
interesting.
if someone wants to employ you, then they can apply for work permit for you.
Oh yeah. And then
you
you
work
can
for
stay
2
as
years.
a worker.
Yeah, then you become a permanent
on work
resident.
visa.
Yes.
Okay.
So that's one of them.
Okay.
And then you can come as a student. Most graduates now finish school in Uganda and they have no jobs. That small investment where you go and do a postgraduate diploma, what it does for you is a few things. It allows you to work, first of all, while you're studying. And then once you finish studying, they give you a postgraduate work permit for 1 year. So once you finish that 1 year, now you can apply for permanent residence in Canada. That has taken you 2 years, which again, compared to most other countries in the world, is a very short period, right? And then you can also try to look for work within Uganda before you go.
And as a semi-skilled?
Yeah, semi-skilled. We have a lot of farms, we have a lot of tradespeople, we have a lot of factories. That
So
need
how
work.
do you look for a job? Where do you find? These are the things
Yes.
people like.
So
where
yes.
do you find
So
the job?
you have to look for licensed employment recruiters. So there is a lot of fraud around this area, so people have to be very careful. That first of all, you do your own research. Who's advertising the job?
Yeah.
Are they licensed to recruit people in the province?
But if someone is
In
here,
which-
how do you know that they are licensed or not?
You ask. You
Ask
ask.
who?
You can ask me.
But no,
But
not
you can
everyone
ask
can
other
read.
consultants.
Not
No,
everyone-
but apart from me, there are many consultants who
here
are
in
talking.
Uganda.
They are abroad, but they do.
Yeah, I know,
Yeah.
but for me, I believe in when we give information to people, like we have to give them like real information. We have to give them like facts.
Yes.
So we can't just say you will ask, but they don't know who to ask.
So-
maybe what if
so
they're also
yes.
asking a wrong person?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So by default, they can ask me and I'm going to share my information, right?
I'll put your website.
And I'm Google the word Canadian consultant, Canadian lawyer, and they will find those contacts.
So when you find it, let's say
Yeah.
they don't get you,
Yeah.
they don't get to you,
Yeah.
and then they want to find a Canadian lawyer or someone who's in Canada. So they just go on Google,
Yeah.
put in and then just send a question, and they will answer.
because their email addresses. So the way the Law Society and consultants work is that they are regulated. So there is an organization which has all the list of all the lawyers in Canada and of all consultants.
Yeah.
So you can literally go to those lists and look at a familiar name, look for a familiar name,
Yeah.
an African name, a Ugandan name,
Okay.
whatever you want, whatever you're comfortable with.
And then send a mail.
Then send an email. Yeah,
I have ABCD questions.
exactly. Yeah,
And they respond.
they will
At a
respond.
cost, at a no cost.
Some do a cost, some don't. And again, that's where you use your initiative. If you feel like you just want information,
Yeah.
you can
Yeah,
take it,
like do
Yeah.
some work. Like I mean,
Yes.
there's
Yes.
internet now. Almost all that age,
Yeah.
almost everyone has a smartphone.
They're always on their phones, so they can use that.
They can use that. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's semi-skill. I
Yeah.
find that it actually not easy, but I mean it's doable. I can't
It
say
is. It is
it's
doable. It
Yeah.
is not as easy as going to Qatar or Dubai or whatever it is, because
I know,
again,
yeah,
the
yeah.
employer has to think, why do I need to employ you
Yeah.
when I can get someone in Canada, right?
Yeah.
So you're either looking for jobs people don't like in Canada.
Oh yeah.
Like
that's
being
a tip basically.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
if you want to go through,
Exactly.
find those jobs that
Yeah.
people there don't like.
Yeah.
How do
Things-
you know? These
Yeah,
people
but-
Canadians don't like them.
Well, you look at what do people do in countries where they just go and work and visas are easy,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Domestic help, plumbers,
Okay.
tradespeople, factory workers, right?
Yeah, most people
So
there don't like
yeah,
to do that. So
not that they don't like to do it, but they have professional jobs,
Okay.
right? They have professional jobs
Okay.
because the unemployment in Canada is 6.8%, which is the lowest in the world.
Okay.
And most of those people are disabled or they're elderly people, right?
Okay.
So the professional jobs are there for people who go as permanent residents or skilled people. Now, the gap is in those jobs that are semi and professional or not professional at all.
Okay.
Right. So you look for those kind of jobs. If you get them, then we work with the employers to get your work permit, right? And that
okay.
works. And people can also go, if you have a partner, they can sponsor you
Yeah.
to go and join them. And once you land in the
That's
country,
family reunion, right?
family reunion, yeah.
Okay. That's
So you
just
can
like anywhere else. Yeah.
exactly. So you can do that. People are going to report on events. Again, we have a lot of conventions in Europe. So you go as a news anchor, for instance.
And then I stay there.
And then, yeah, if
And
you
look
can
for a
find
job
ways
while
of
you're
staying
there.
there.
Yeah, I get it.
And then also you
Yeah.
can work with issues of sports. There are
Yeah.
lots of occasions happening. There are rugby
Yeah.
union sports. There are
Yeah.
many things, athletics.
Mhm.
So people go through that. You can go for cultural exchange programs.
We've talked about this
exactly.
before, by the way.
Yeah.
We've talked about
Cultural exchange programs are very
we've talked
good.
about the sports, all these kinds of things.
Yes, and also people have businesses here that they can transfer to Canada.
Yeah.
It is a visa program where you can go, and if you have an innovation, then you can go and actually look for a group of incubators who are going to invest in you, and then you stay in Canada. And most of the successful actually companies in Canada have come from people coming from out of Canada, and they bring a brilliant idea, and it works. And then you can say, so Canada has lots of options for everyone. The issue is you just need to find the right one for you.
Oh yeah.
And once you find it, it's okay. People still go as tourists as well, and get there. And if they have a reason why they can't return home, they can make a refugee claim.
Yeah.
So,
is
that
it also
helps.
like
Yeah.
any other, like in Europe,
Yeah.
the maximum visa or the basic normal visa you can get time is 3 months, so 90 days. In,
Yeah.
visa, in Canada, it's also the same. Like if you go to visit or tourist, that the maximum you can get is 3 months, or is it different?
No, actually, I think the
Like,
minimum
let's say visit visa.
Yes.
Maximum in Canada is how many months? How many days?
expiration of your passport.
No.
Seriously, expiration of
You
your
don't
passport.
mean that.
Honestly, and actually, Canada almost by default, if you have all your documents in order and they give you a visa, it's to the expiration of your passport. So the average person gets 10 years. If
But
they have
no, I mean,
It's
let
true.
me rephrase my question because let me rephrase my question.
Yes, yes,
I have a friend there.
yeah,
So I asked her to invite me.
yeah,
To go and visit
Yes.
her. I applied for a visa. I said, okay, like normal, put in my documents, I'm coming to visit. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'll be staying normally. I don't know about Canada, but when you're applying like for Belgium, you have to specify when you're leaving and when you'll be back. So you have to specify the period of time you spend there. Of course, Belgium or Europe, they give maximum 90 days. So you apply, you say, I'll leave at this on this day and I'll return on this day. And normally for Europe, for Belgium, that's what like I have experience with that. They give you the time you ask.
Okay.
If you ask for a week, they'll give you. Before they would give 3 months automatic. But now, if you ask for a week for Belgium, they give you a week. If you ask for 2 weeks, it's 2 weeks.
Yeah.
If you ask for 3 months, you get 3 months. That's the maximum. In Canada, say it again.
until the expiration of your passport. Seriously.
Really?
Seriously. That's the truth. And that's the thing that people don't understand. It. That's why everyone is going to Canada, because Canada actually, I get people visas. People take a year before going because the visa is 10 years or 8 years if their passport is 8 years or 6 years.
Really?
Yeah. So
I've never heard of that.
it does. It does. I think the US used to do it. They've stopped, but Canada still does it.
And then, so once you're in Canada,
Yeah.
your visa, okay, it goes up to 1 year. We'll check that out.
Please do. Please do.
So your visa is for,
Yes.
let's say, 4 years.
Yes.
So that means you don't have it. So why do I come back?
So you come back because even if you have a 10-year visa, you're allowed to stay up to 6 months at a time.
Ah.
Okay? Yeah, so that is the trick.
Now you are
Even-
okay. Yeah.
But the issue is,
now I get it.
yes,
Okay.
but the issue is
Okay.
if Canada has trusted you with a visa, they believe that you can come in and out and they don't have to keep giving you visas anymore.
But then,
Right?
is that visa automatically a multiple entry visa, or you have to specify when you
No, it's a
apply?
multiple entry. It is.
So that means if I have I want people to understand this very well.
It's the truth.
Because me too,
Yes.
I don't know these things.
Yeah.
I'm also learning from him. So that means if I apply for a visa
Yeah.
to Canada
Yeah.
and my passport has 6 years to go, then the visa goes up to 6 years.
Yeah.
So that means I can, in those 6 years, I can come to Uganda and go back to Canada. I don't have to ask for a visa again.
No. Honestly, you don't have to. You just have to explain when you get to the airport that I'm here to visit again, I'm here to tour, I'm here to do whatever.
Do you have to have other document? But
Not really, because you see they've given you a visa already. Now, for instance, if you want to see your sister, and then next time you're going to see a friend, so possibly it's wise when you go back the next time, you say, you see now my friend has invited me,
But then that means, if I get it right, maybe it will be safer that each time you're going back, you have a new invitation from someone.
Yeah, it does help. It does help.
I think so.
But,
not to have problems at the
yeah, but
I need people to really, honestly, my viewers, you need to testify on this. Someone who has ever had a Canada visa, please tell us that this is what is happening. For me, it's too good to be true.
Seriously.
For me, when something is too good to be true, I'm out.
Yeah.
So it doesn't mean that I'm skeptical or something, but I'm realistic.
Yeah.
So for me, this is too good to be true. So please, people out there who have had a Canadian
feel free
visa,
to
please testify
or everyone else
that this is what it is.
It is.
Oh wow,
It
that's interesting.
Yes.
That's more than interesting. Oh,
It is indeed. Yeah.
Okay.
Anyone can go to Canada. That's the
Don't
issue.
make it that easy. Don't make it sound that easy.
So the issue is the requirements are hard.
Okay.
The requirements are hard.
Yeah.
Possibly the Canadian visa now is the hardest visa to get. Honestly, yeah.
But once you get it,
but the thing is, once you get in, one, you can alter your visa to stay in Canada. All right, easily. So people go, like I said, people go as students and then end up becoming workers and permanent residents. People go as visitors, they find a partner in Canada and end up getting married and stay, right?
Yeah.
So once you get a visa, you can stay in Canada for as long as you want. You just have to know how to alter your visa or how to ask for an extension. Because for instance, if you're there for 6 months and then you want to stay more, right? Then you apply for an extension. You already have
the reason.
Yeah. You say I want to stay longer past the 6 months.
Okay.
You see?
Yeah.
So it allows people to come in and stay for as long as they want, within reason, but then also alter their visa to do something else and stay.
But I mean,
which is good.
Like we say, you just have to be smart. If you can get to that step of getting there, then you should be able to like find your way or find how you can stay there. So I mean, that shouldn't be hard. The hardest part is to get the visa.
It's the visa. The visa is hard. Yeah.
Oh, this is so interesting.
It's extremely hard, but once they have them, it's easy. But it's not extremely hard. The thing is, why people don't get visas to go to Canada? People come to you and they want to travel next week. You see?
They don't have the patience.
Yeah, people are impatient.
Okay.
So when you give yourself a target of 1 month to go to even Europe, not just North America, then you're kind of creating an environment where you're going to be rushing yourself and then trying to cut corners. And the thing is, once you cut corners, then they can see through it. That's when people have a bank statement of 40 million before they print it. And of course they're going to see through that, right? But then if you give yourself 3 months,
or even a year, a year is not long.
Because it's worth it at the end of the day.
Even a year you give, like you have to say, okay, this year I'm going to work on my procedure to migrate to Canada, and then you give it. For me, a year, 6 months to a year should be ideal.
It should be, and I tell everyone who comes that.
Because if you're not, if you don't have like most of our people or some, I can't say like don't have any stable jobs between that age group. So, but you can like if you're working towards that, you can say, okay, I'm going to do everything I can to find a job, and then give yourself a year, work, and as you're working on your paperwork. I mean,
it's very true.
Some people always wait. This is from experience, from what I hear, people wait until they lose their jobs and they say, okay, I lost my job, now I have nothing to do. I need to leave. And at that time, they're under pressure, they don't even have money anymore, they don't have, and then they are, pushing, and then eventually they get cheated or stuff. So give yourself time and start your procedure, even if you have a job and you feel you want to go out there. Because exposure, I mean, like I always say, once the exposure you get when you go out there, it's I can't explain it. It can't leave you the same. So work for that. Like give everything time, and then do it the right way. So let's go to our now. This is for our people. Like not everyone wants to go out there. Almost people are scared to take the risk. So why should I? Like most people graduate, let's say, who have jobs, like in banks or whatever. Why should I leave Uganda to go to Canada? Because for me, I live in Europe. I like it there in Belgium, but sometimes it comes. I said, was it the right best decision I made to go? Was it so? With your experience, why should someone leave Uganda to go to Canada? If I have my job, if I have a job, why should I leave Uganda to go to work in Canada?
Okay, so a couple of things, and I will say this not just for Canada but also Europe, because I've practiced law in Europe as well, so I know what Europe brings. But I also know what North America brings. Doesn't apply to Asia necessarily, but those two continents, really, right? They are not better.
Okay.
They're not better because that's what people always come here like, oh, is it greener pastures?
Yeah, we always saw we think
right?
greener
Yes.
pastures up there.
They are not better at all than Uganda or Africa or where we are. They just offer different benefits.
So,
And that is very important for people to understand.
yeah.
That Uganda has its own good things,
Of
or
course,
Africa has its
of
own good
course,
things.
of
There's the moral integrity, there is organic food, there is
Yeah.
a sense of community.
And the social life.
There's a lot of, exactly, right? A lot of good things, right?
Yeah.
But then these countries we call social states that pretty much give you insurance for everything in life. And you cannot put a price to that. You can't. And I will start from the simple things like you're out of work, for instance. Canada and most developed countries in Europe, you know, they'll give you what they call unemployment benefits.
Yeah.
That once you're out of work, you're not going to be, you know, on the street.
Yeah.
They'll give you money to maintain your well-being,
Yeah.
which you can't put a price to. Medical benefits, right? Education system is completely different from what we do here, which just doesn't look at your, you know, your academic proficiency. It looks at what other skill sets do you have. You find that every college, every university you go to integrate sports, integrate music, integrate other things. So they tap into all these natural talents that we could have that we ignore in, you know, in Africa. And we find that the kids who are exposed to all these things don't look at academics as the end all and be all, which is a good thing, right? But they also look at innovative other ways, and you find that they become richer easier because they're not saying if I'm not a doctor or lawyer or engineer,
I'm not be rich,
I'm not rich.
But now this sounds like we are encouraging people to leave Uganda, like people to run away.
Not really. There are beautiful benefits in Uganda.
Of course.
But then there's nothing wrong with going abroad, tapping into these other benefits. Because you see, if someone tells you that you have all these good things, but just go somewhere for a bit and get other good things, okay, and add on to what you have.
And then
Nothing
decide
wrong.
if you want to come back.
Yes, averagely I've been in Europe for most of my life and North America, but I've interacted with Africans everywhere, and we get at a place where we go back home.
Of course, yes.
Right? But then we come back home if we've set ourselves up well, better people, more enriched to do things we could have never done if we had stayed home, right? So going there, we are not going to come back with anyone. It just means that
time comes
yes,
when we all come back.
It does come. It can, and then you come back more exposed, but also with more resources to impact that you couldn't have got if you had stayed home. Some people do, but some don't. But then the most important thing, and especially this happens with adults, because you see a typical, you know, person who has a good job in Uganda and Africa, and you know, they have a car, they have a house. They're thinking, what else, right? Let the kids go and study if they want to, but why do I have to go? The issue is that the way these countries manage old age, you cannot put a price to that. And I did my study, and the average life expectancy in Europe and North America now, the countries have different life expectancy, but it's around 82.8 years. The average in Africa is 62.5. That is a lot of time that you can live longer. And I'm a Christian, I believe that you pass when you're supposed to pass. But apart from that, how do you manage old age? The difference between being able to understand your great-grandchild when she speaks to you and possibly have the capacity could be in getting a citizenship of a second country, so that, you know, if you need to take a flight to deal with Alzheimer's, to deal with memory loss, to deal with cancer, to deal with, and there are over 40 old age diseases. And by the way, almost 90% of those are preventable. But you see, if you're in a country where the health system cannot detect and protect and, you know, do all these vaccinations, that's why we live a short life in Africa. So for that alone, every adult person, regardless of how much money you have, just go and then get another passport, come back. Uganda has dual citizenship, so you can enjoy that. But for the kids, you can't put a price as well, because they grow up more exposed, they have more opportunity to advance, not just academically. So what happens to the kids who are not bright? How they advance then, right? But then what happens also to people, to the kids who have learning difficulties?
Yeah. Talk about that.
How are they catered for in
How
this
are they
country
catered for?
compared to the first world country?
But I mean, we all can't
Yeah.
go. We all can't go away.
Yeah,
We
of
all
course we can. Yeah.
We all can't. Like, yeah, some of us will have to stay. Some of us, but I mean,
Yeah.
if you have the opportunity to do that, or to go somewhere and get another second citizenship, or go and get the exposure, like we say, do that. Tap into that. You never know. You know what we do here. We always give people advice,
Yes.
tips, and tricks. Because we can get the information, but sometimes we take it in different ways, we perceive it differently. But like you, as someone who has experience in migration law, and this is what you do, what tips would you give someone in Uganda who wants to start the procedure, like who wants to start his journey, because it's a journey?
Yeah.
What tips do you give? Like, where do I start? Where do I go? How best do I go about this? Give us like tips, a few of them,
Okay, so thank you for
and
that.
advice.
Yes. So firstly, I think why most Ugandans refuse visas is, like I said, because one, they want something quick, fast,
Yeah.
and cutting corners.
Okay.
So it's easy for them to find anyone who tells them that I can get you a visa, whether it's a conference, whether it's through government something, and they end up using unlicensed people.
Okay.
And also they use unlicensed people in their defense because they don't know the people who are licensed. They want to see people in Uganda who can help them, and the people who are licensed are practicing in Canada, right? So first thing is that find a licensed person, whether they are a consultant or a lawyer, and try to use them. There is a difference between you just submitting your documents and having a licensed person look through them, look at laws that keep changing every day, make sure that you meet the requirements, but also there is a cover letter which makes a big difference from a lawyer's office, from a consultant's office, with a letterhead saying, I practice, he had authorized me to apply on his behalf. These are the requirements, this is how this gentleman has met the requirements. That gives you at least a 90% chance of success.
Okay, before we go on to the
Yeah.
second tip,
Yeah.
is there a possibility of someone, because you're talking about people licensed, people who are licensed,
Yeah.
and stuff like that,
Yeah.
but is there a possibility, or is there a way how one can do this procedure on their own? And what are the chances? Or better not?
Better not, honestly. I mean, if you're applying for a visitor visa, possibly yes.
Yeah.
If you're applying for a tourist visa, maybe. But there are always tricks that you don't know.
For skilled
Yeah.
visa,
Yeah,
best
but
use a professional.
use a professional. But even the ordinary visas, because listen, Uganda has at least 75% visa refusals for Canada. That tells you something, that something is going wrong.
But that's another extra cost.
It is, but you see,
Yeah.
do you know how I make most of my money? I make my money in people trying to reapply and do things the right way because they were refused, and now they have to figure out how to do it right. You
So
see?
it's best to,
So
in the
it's-
beginning,
yeah.
you start the right
You start
way.
right way because it's going to become expensive for you in the end.
And of course, once you are refused a visa, and this is
Yeah.
not only for Canada,
Yeah.
this is for everywhere, all these European countries or whatever. Once you're refused the visa and you're applying for the second time, your documents are looked at like
They scrutinize
yeah,
them, yeah.
because they say, why was he refused or she refused the visa?
So it's
Start
best
it-
to
start the right way.
use the right people. The right people is very, very important because
And the right information.
The right information, right? So once you have that, then know what is required.
Yeah.
Know what is required. I'm going to give you a few tips. I don't know if I'm talking about tips as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so any visa, apart from the permanent residence visa for Canada at least, there are at least 4 major things that you're supposed to look at. One, especially if you're going as a temporary resident person, is that they expect you're going to return back home.
Oh yes. Yeah.
Okay? So there is something called proof of ties to your country.
Yeah, that we've talked about
Right?
that before.
So,
We've talked about
yes,
that.
he's talked about that. So how do you
Yeah.
show them?
Yeah.
Talk about all those things that you're going to
Yeah.
show that you're going to return back home about.
Yeah.
And I think you can go to that video and she
Yes.
talked about it in detail.
Yeah.
Then you're supposed to talk about purpose of travel. Why are you traveling?
Yeah.
All right? Which is important. Half of the Ugandans apply for conferences and conventions. And then you're like, okay, you're going for a conference for a convention. As who?
As who?
You're going for an
What do you do
HIV
in
convention
Uganda? What do you do
and
in
you're
Uganda?
an admin in the Ministry of Finance. How are they related?
Yeah.
You see?
Yeah.
And that's why they get refusals. They meet people who have tried something, it has worked out,
and then they think
they can use it for everyone,
yeah.
right?
Okay.
So get your purpose of travel carefully.
Yeah.
Actually, the last visa you should apply for is for a convention and a conference. If you're not a business owner who's dealing in the business which is related to that, if you're not the PR officer, so you're going to represent them, if you're not the HR and you're possibly looking to bigger ties, or if you're not possibly a person who owns a reasonable role in the company, right? Don't apply for those visas. You can actually attend a convention by going as a tourist. It's easier for you to go as under a tourist visa and attend a convention anyway.
And then you put it in, and I would like also to attend the convention.
Yeah.
Wow, okay, that's a
so
good tip.
you kind of find what works for you. Purpose of travel, you also are talking about proof of ties to your country, travel history. That is the most important.
But most people don't have that.
Yeah, but you can
Most
get
people
it.
don't have that.
You can
How?
get it by traveling.
Hey, but
By
to
traveling.
where?
So first
But
of
it
all,
costs money.
it costs money. I appreciate that. But you see, especially to the G7 countries, right? We are the 7 top economies.
Yeah.
70% of people go there as permanent residents. Don't return home. They don't. Okay? But then when they are applying for business, they say we are going for a specific purpose, we are coming back. So how do these countries reassure themselves that you're going to go and come back if you've not gone anywhere else and return back home? So they want something to look at that can convince them that you're going and you're coming back.
So you just travel
Right?
somewhere, come back.
No, unfortunately, it's not just anywhere. So countries like Canada, Britain, Germany, Australia, New Zealand want you to travel to a first world country. So out of Africa travel, right? And I know it's tough.
I know,
right?
that's what
It's a bit tough.
tough.
No,
People
but
are already struggling
yeah.
to
But
you
then
know, and
you
then
see-
telling them first to go to UK and come back, and then you can apply for.
Go to Ireland. It's easy to go to Ireland. Go to
Yeah,
Sweden.
yeah.
Go to Turkey, right? Go
I
to
know.
these easier countries,
Yeah,
right?
I get it. I
Get that, because you see what you're doing is you're
Building,
investing.
yeah, you're investing.
You're investing.
Yeah.
Because let me tell you, Cynthia, it's okay. So what happens if you have everything in order,
Yeah.
but you don't have travel history? You know what happens?
Yeah.
These officers, at least in the Canadian embassy, are given around about 8 minutes to make a decision. 8 minutes.
Yeah.
Now, the easiest day in the office for a decision maker is to look for where is your travel history and send there.
Yeah.
He's not going to look
But
at
I
any
mean,
other
honestly
document.
speaking, I think we will agree.
Yeah.
This age group we are talking about, we can agree that 95% don't have travel history.
But they have to travel. If they're students, it's different because you can try to explain that they're still living with their parents, and they might be mitigating. But if you're fairly, but those are you see, I'm not playing devil's advocate.
I know, but
I'm just telling them what they want.
Luta,
Yeah.
you know what it is.
Yeah.
You're in Uganda right now. You
I
have
know.
things that have.
Yeah, yeah.
And you're telling someone buy a ticket or
Yeah.
get a visa already. Okay. You building. Okay. I know that's the hardest one.
Yes,
Building
it's the hardest one,
travel
though.
history.
It is
It's
the hardest one. Honestly,
one.
yeah.
But
It is.
which other way? Like let's say, okay, this is hard. This is hard. Which other things should we like work on?
Okay,
that
so-
can help.
Yeah. So other than those three,
Other than the travel history,
no
please.
travel history, purpose of travel, proof of ties. Those are three very
I
major
know,
ones.
Yeah.
Then you have to proof of funds is also important.
Yeah, of course.
All right.
Yeah,
So they have to have money to go and pay for their travels or whatever they're going to do. But then they don't want the embassy. They want to know that once you paid for your study, your accounts are empty.
Yeah.
You see, if you pay for your ticket, your accounts are empty. So you have to have a reasonable amount of money in your account, and that is where the patience comes.
But also there has to
Right?
be money flow. They say every month you have some money coming
exactly.
in.
And that's why I tell people that that's where the patience comes in.
Yeah.
Because if you come to my office and you have 10 million in your account, might not be enough, okay? But then you're going to tell me now my uncle can send me 40 million put on my account. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. Like you said, they want to see a flow.
Yeah, flow.
And that is where you then say, okay, I have 10 million, but now for the next 3 months,
My uncle will be putting 2
that
million every month.
yeah, right? So the
Yeah.
statement becomes reasonable.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then most people are not willing to wait it out.
they're not there.
Right?
Patience.
So those 4 things are extremely important, and then organization. People get everything and just submit. and it doesn't work.
Yeah.
You have to put all the things I've said in their own boxes. You have to name them. You have to label them. You have to.
You're talking from a lawyer point
No,
of view.
but
We have to
no,
put it in boxes.
no.
Look, I'm an organized person. I know
Yes.
at home, even at home, I
Yeah.
have files
Yeah.
for everything.
Yeah.
I know. But I know for some people this can be really hard. But learn to work
Yes.
with files.
Yeah.
So if it's a year, like we said, minimum, give yourself 6 months when
Yeah.
you're working on these procedures. But like have a file and say, this is my file for my Canada project, I can say, and then put every document you think is necessary in. Like I told you, we talked in the video I had not long ago. Like most people here don't have birth certificates.
Yeah.
So like start and say, okay, I'm going to get my birth certificate, I'm going to get this, like start to get all these things and putting them in the file and all these other documents, whatever they will be needing.
Yes.
But like be organized.
It is very important because you see, like I said, imagine a decision maker was 8 minutes and you've given them 70 documents and they are completely disorganized.
Yeah.
It makes it easy for him to actually miss documents as well.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
So as long as you do that and you're patient, and I can't re-emphasize, use the right people, it really makes a difference. Honestly, it does. So
Be
it's not very hard.
organized.
Organize. Take your time as well. Take your time. It's very important,
Okay.
and you'll be okay.
You'll be
But then the issue is that is the hard work. Once you have the visa, everything else is easy to be
So
honest.
I'll try from me what I've understood from our chat. So this is what I think, or what I've gotten from our chat. Like, get the right information. Yeah. Get your documents ready. Be patient. Be organized, and the right people talked about it. Find the right people.
Very important.
Very important. Find the right people. You guys have internet. Like every video, I have to remind people like you guys. In our time, we didn't have this luxury of internet. We had to go to internet cafes all the time to find this information. But you guys have it like in your hands, so use it. And with that being said, we need to know about life in Canada, because I mean we are telling people you can migrate to Canada, you can know what is there, how is life like, how when I get there, where do I start, like what is the pay like is it worth it even, so all these things. But it's we'll talk about that in our next episode, because we've already talked about so much and we can't start to talk about now about life in Canada. So we'll have another episode where we'll take you through about life in Canada. When you get there, where do you start? What do you need to do? What steps do you need not to miss? Because like I told you in my video not long ago, that the people, anywhere you migrate to, the people you meet in those first days play a very big role on how your life can be in those countries. So we will talk about all that. What steps do you need to, like, you don't need to miss once you get there? How is life like? The expectations, because we always have high expectations,
That's very true.
What do you expect? What to expect once you go to Canada? All that. We will talk about that in the next episode. So I mean, we've got a lot to tell you. So Luther, I'll thank you again. Thank you so much for making the time. I know you're a busy guy, but you made the time, so really appreciate.
Thank you. Yes, thank you very much. I'm always happy to honestly, just talk about immigration. I love immigration so much. I thank the audience for listening in. I hope they found it useful.
Oh yeah.
And we'll keep spreading the word.
Yeah.
So, and thank you for having me as well.
No problem.
It's an honor to be on your show for the first time. I'm hoping
he will come back.
I'll be coming back.
You
yes.
guys send the questions. Send the questions. Those who
Yeah.
have questions, but of course not everything. But we'll look at what is the most asked question, and I can't guarantee, but you have to say you will make the time.
Yeah, I'll be happy to answer the questions and to help.
Okay, so you guys send the questions in, and he will answer them. He will answer them. We will make the time to answer your questions. And with that being said, that is it. Bye bye from Kampala.
Yes.